Hello then, my fellow raiders. It's December, which means we're fast approaching our Raiders' first, essentially, wipe. The window to send your expedition, reset your account for benefits. The question, of course, on everyone's mind is it actually worth resetting? Are the benefits worth what you lose? And of course, the immediate answer that kind of everyone thinks about that springs to mind is no! No, it's not! Oh my... And that's a completely valid take on the whole situation, because I think blueprints are the biggest, spanner in the works of this entire system, because ultimately they are brutally difficult to get, especially the good, valid, best ones, and losing your blueprint collection is a bitter pill to swallow. But let's talk about it then. What's actually going on? What do you keep? What do you gain? Well, initially we can look at it here. This is a nice little list of what's reset and what will be kept. So all your maps are going to stay unlocked, which means you're going to instantly go into Stella Montis or Bluegate, don't have to worry about that, and you will keep unlocked workshop stations, but you will still have to upgrade them to level 3 again. Codex entries are whatever, raider tokens, obviously you keep them, cred is nice to keep too, and that ties in with your raider deck progress completing and staying, but that's still not a huge thing. Your current trials rank and the trial season and your position on it with the leaderboards, okay, cool. Your customization and cosmetics, yep, that's to be expected. That would be hilarious to reset, given some of them are paid, and any event progress that you're doing. The two big ones then are at the bottom. Bonus skill points earned from expeditions and bonus stash slots earned from expeditions. So keep that in mind. What you're going to have to redo then is you're going to have to rebuy all of your stash upgrades. So that's just some pure money grinding. It's a bit of a task, but it's not huge. Obviously, everything in your inventory is going. No one is surprised or upset at that. The blueprints, yep, that's the big one. Your collection is deleted. Your money, of course, that's going. You're starting again. Your skill points, yes, because you're getting reset to level 1. You're going to have to re-level to 75, which is obviously quite the slog. Then your raider den is reset too, and then your workshop, as I said, you have to re-get to level 3, and essentially your quest line is put to the start. So if you care about the quests or their rewards, which right now I don't see why anyone would outside of the story, and if you've done them once you've seen the story, the rewards aren't great, and they're not like the most exhilarating things in the world. They don't even reward XP, so that's fine to just leave the quests at the start and just kind of not do them. Essentially, what this comes down to then is a battle of two things. Because I don't even think the bonus stash slots that you earn from sending an expedition are that worthwhile. Now, don't get me wrong, a bigger stash is great. We're all fighting the eternal battle that is having 280 out of 280. It is a problem. And one of the reasons it is a problem is, ironically, because we know that the value of your stash, combined with your current amount of coins, is what determines how many bonus skill points you get. We're all just hoarding valuable things like weapons to have stash value for expeditions, if you're planning on sending one, like I will be. But in any case, more stash space is good for a while, but inevitably you will fill it. No matter how big your stash, you will fill it. It just grows to expand to the max size, and then you're always playing the management game. Obviously, if you had like thousands of slots, it wouldn't be the case, but an extra 5, 10, even 20, which is the likely range it'll be, is not going to suddenly solve any stash problems you're already having. So with that in mind then, it really boils down to two things. It's not hard to re-upgrade your stash, it's not hard to get new stuff because it's just loot runs and farming, it's not hard to get back to level 75, it just takes a bit of time grinding, especially post the XP nerf. It's not hard to get your workshop back to level 3, it's not hard to either do or ignore the quests. So it comes down to, what do you prefer? To keep your blueprint collection forever, eventually get it to 74 out of 74 and just be happy, Or do you care more about having bonus skill points and then any unique cosmetics you unlock from sending your expeditions? And that's a difficult question to answer, and it's, well, up to each individual. Do I want to slowly gain more total skill points, or do I want to never have to grind blueprints again? And I think there is a good argument on both sides. Personally, I lean towards skill points because I think with the right strategies, you can farm blueprints fairly fast. We do have many videos on how to do it. I will link them down below, but it's totally valid if you're like, nope, never farming blueprints. It took me 87 years to get that volcano, and I am not doing it again. I totally get that. It is kind of ridiculous how hard it is in theory to get a full blueprint collection, even if you can mitigate it somewhat with our current understanding of blueprints. But the thing is, bonus skill points will add up. Now, currently, of course, well, a lot of the skills aren't great. But if, like me, you have had a bit of an upsie with your assigning, like I will not get Calming Stroll again, because this was gotten before we fully understood what it actually affects, just regular walking. And because of that, I didn't have the points left to get Loaded Arms, which is actually really, really good. Halving your weapon weight is phenomenal. So for me, I at least want one skill tree reset, which is a benefit of Expedition if you don't already have a perfect skill tree, just so I can then have a perfect skill tree. But extra skill points? Let's say I didn't have Calming Stroll and I didn't have 1 rank in Sturdy Ankles, which is kind of where I would like to be. So I could then put 1 point in a little extra and 1 point in Loaded Arms. Would I really desperately need more skill points? None of what I don't have is like critical. Some of it's useful. Turtle Crawl can make you survive the odd raid. A little moving faster with a heavy shield is okay, though the actual effects of it isn't huge. Not making noise while breaching can occasionally let you go unnoticed and therefore unkilled, but a lot of the higher mobility stuff just isn't that worth. Finishing 3 deep breaths isn't the worst idea, but the point that I'm saying is everything that I don't have isn't like crazy good. So getting an extra, let's say 5 skill points, which is supposedly what it's going to be, isn't going to enable anything crazy. So if I already had a perfect skill tree, I might actually be tempted to stay on the side of keeping my blueprint collection. But because I want a skill tree reset anyway, because I'm not happy with it, then for me at least 1 expedition is a no-brainer, and then hey, 5 extra skill points to spend, it's not the end of the world. And you would assume at some point they are going to buff, to change, to tweak these skills because they know a lot of them are underwhelming, a lot of them aren't used, and a lot of them are just downright pointless. So there's no way over the course of Ark Raiders history we're not going to see skill tree redesigns, and at that point everyone who sent multiple expeditions will be thankful for all their bonus points. So that is something to consider. So it really is quite an interesting little conundrum that we are currently up to. Once you have your expedition to level 6, you are ready for departure and you can make that choice. Getting it to level 6 quickly is something we have talked about. Again, I'll link it down below, and it's something we will talk about in the coming weeks as we approach the window. But yeah, that choice is certainly curious. And if we have a look at this, we have an article from way back now, but it does talk about the expedition. Obviously, the window to launch is coming up on December the 15th, and then the launch is on December the 21st. And it's worth noting that because not everyone will choose to wipe, it's not a forced global one, like for example in Tarkov, you are going to immediately be disadvantaged against high-level endgame accounts that don't expedition. It's not a huge deal, you'll catch back up over the week or two after you send your expedition, but it will initially be a little bit of a speed bump to climb over. And obviously there is the big question mark of how will it work in terms of being drop stuff. If you send your expedition, you're back to level 1, and then your friend that hasn't done that, they just drop you a load of advanced stuff, there's nothing really stopping that, and why would they? That's not technically illegal. So that might come up as a thing. In any case, we do have this going on. We have account buffs that are applied for the duration of the following expedition cycle, and this is one of the last major things to talk about. Now, they have said that these account buffs will go away if you miss a expedition, so you'll only keep them for as long as you keep up a streak of always sending an expedition. So that's kind of a factor too. If you're on holiday one expedition window and you can't do it, then suddenly you lose a streak of 4 expeditions and lose 4 expeditions worth of stacking buffs. That's kind of a kick in the teeth. But what are the stacking buffs? We do have, of course, the roadmap in December. We've got updates incoming and that departure window. So let's talk about it. We can see them here then, rewards and buffs. Completing an expedition gives your raider lasting advantages until the next expedition departs. So you do gain XP faster, which gets you back to level 75 faster. That's nice. And then Scrappy gives you materials faster, which gets you online faster and keeps you supplied easier. That's also really nice. And then weapon repairs being more effective, that's also honestly quite nice. And then stash spaces we've talked about, alongside those extra skill points. The devs have obviously confirmed that the stash space and the skill points are permanent. Even if you miss an expedition, you keep the skill points, you keep the stash space. So the increased XP, the extra Scrappy, and things like weapon repairs are what's the temporary buff that goes away if you miss a window. So is that something that's worth expeditioning consistently for? To always be playing the game with, let's ignore the XP because you'll get to level 75 and then that's useless, so is constantly resetting your blueprint collection worth extra Scrappy materials and increased weapon repairs? I could see people still saying definitely not, and again, if I didn't want to reset my tree and redo it, I could see myself thinking not. So it definitely is quite the decision to make, and I do wonder if once the expedition window opens, we're going to see a lot of people just choose not to do it, and only the people, let's say, obsessively playing, like myself, let's be honest, are actually going to do it. I plan to, because the one factor I've not talked about is I love the game, right? And I miss having objectives other than just playing it. Like, I love still playing it, but I definitely, of course, am playing it less than even a couple weeks ago. So re-getting all of my basics online, your workshop to level 75 and so on, I am going to enjoy that process. Now, I probably will enjoy it less and less each time, so eventually the desire to send an expedition will be less, but at least this first one will be a novel, fun experience. I want to find out how fast I can get everything again now that I know the game so well and it's not new and I know the places to loot and the routes to take. I feel like that's going to be definitely rewarding. But yes, bottom line then, what do you think? Have you even completed your expedition? Do you think permanent skill points and then the temporary buffs here are worth starting your blueprint collection again? Or with the expeditions happening every 8 weeks and how hard it is or can be to get blueprints means you'll never see a meaningful collection, which means you'll never get to enjoy playing the game with access to crafting everything, means it's not worth resetting so consistently, coupled with losing buffs if you do miss an expedition window, either because you're forced to or because you do want to keep blueprints for a little bit longer. So that's kind of the considerations. That's what you get, that's what you keep, that's what you lose, and I would love to know then your guys' thoughts down below on what you plan to do and what you would like to see happen. I personally think there should be some way every expedition to choose a blueprint and permanently keep it. Or even if it's random, right? There are 74 blueprints in the game. Every time you send an expedition, you randomly permanently keep 2 of your unlocked blueprints. That way, after 32, 36 even expeditions, quick maths, you have every blueprint in the game. And that's a lot of time, right? That's a lot of real life time. If anyone is playing for that long and does that many expeditions, they deserve to permanently have the whole blueprint collection. So either choose 1 to permanently keep every expedition or randomly keep 2, however it's done, but I definitely think all they need to do is add a way to slowly build up a permanent blueprint collection over the expeditions. Everything else can stay the same with the current rewards and pros and cons, and it suddenly becomes quite the compelling system. In any case, yes, let me know your thoughts. Are you going to do it? For now then, like you've enjoyed this, and obviously we really need them to tell us exactly what you get in numbers. The amount of stash value equal to how many skill points, you know? How much extra XP, how much extra scrappy materials. We need actual defining, well, definitions for each of these buffs and rewards, and that will make a huge deal. Also, revealing unique skins and cosmetics you get for sending an expedition. There might be an outfit that's just just so cool that you can't miss it, and it's worth resetting for just to be able to wear it forever. That's entirely possible. I imagine we will, closer to the time, get that kind of post of how everything actually works, but for now, as the expedition window rolls ever closer, this is what we're working with. Alrighty then, subscribe for more, consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.